This is my cordless router I just recently got. They don't have really nice names for these things. Avhrit is what it says. Comes with two 21-volt batteries, a charger. Comes with about 13 bits, but they came in this little plastic container wrapped in that pop wrap stuff there. But I'm not sure why they don't include a case. This cardboard box won't last very long, so I might have to figure out what to do about the case. Anyway, I just drilled some holes in a piece of 2x4 and just the same size as router bits and stuffed those in there. It came with this kind of a straight edged guide. You can go along the edge of a piece here that's on upside down. It's supposed to be shooting like this with your router out in here somewhere, right here, attached right here. But it's not going to work for my project. I am installing two louvers in this door here. I got a new modern furnace and needs more intake air, so I started here by putting a little frame to guide the router. I'm going to take out the lower part of this midsection here. I'm just going to route it out, not all the way through, and then I'm going to eventually cut holes for each of these louvers so the air goes all the way through the door. Haven't turned the router on yet, but again, the fact that it doesn't come with a case to carry it in is something I don't like. The thing that I really don't like is this mechanism to lower and raise the router depth, the bit depth. There's just a little clamp here, and it's a plastic sleeve that holds that together. There's little increments there, but you really have no measurement, and you just kind of eyeball that thing and guide that to set the correct depth. What I did is I just kind of put it on here and measured the depth, because I don't want to go all the way through the door. So I'm just trial and error. I set it to depth, snap that clamp, lowered and raised it, get it where I want it, and then snap that. It doesn't look to me, there's a plastic sleeve, and that spring is not clamped there on there. Is not very sturdy. I don't think it'll last very long, but I might be wrong on that. Anyway, I'm going to work on this. I'm not going to try to record it as I'm doing. I don't have some second person to do that here, but I will try to do that. I'm going to start out, I'm going to do an edge piece here, just go around and get the shape, and then I'm going to take one of these other bits. I'm going to probably use this bit here just to start gouging that out. It says they do about 1/8 of an inch deep at a time here. This looks like pine, so it should be pretty soft wood to do that. All right, now record part 2 when I get done. Okay, it's been about 2.5 hours. My first battery ran out about 20 minutes ago, so I'm on the second battery. Again, I'm putting these louvers in this door. Got a new furnace, and the guy that installed the furnace said the inspector said I need to have more airflow through that door. I can't have that door shut, so there's not a door available for this size without having one made to size, which is pretty expensive. But anyway, I routed out about 3/4 of an inch of this cross panel here. It's a piece of pine, not too hard. The router did get away from me twice right here. I had a guide rail tacked to that, and as I was coming along here, the brads came undone, and it kind of got away from me. So the router does have some power. And then a guy jumped out of the thing there for me. I had the guide rail up over here, but there's just a little groove. I put a little shoe polish or something on there, stain, and this one I'll probably fill. But what I had to do was route that out. It's not perfect, but again, nobody's going to see my work there. I'm going to take that louver off so you can see. Now this is not perfect. This is the first time I've used a router in about 30 years. It's not perfectly level, but I don't need it to be. Again, that's going to be all covered up by the louver when I put that back on. Let me grab that. So nobody's ever going to see that. Now my next goal is, I was going to use a router, but that was a lot of work using that router. I'm going to just use my jigsaw here, just what I got to go through, and then I'm going to put a little bit of a frame on the back side. I got to cut that whole area underneath. Let me take those guys off. So I'm going to, you can see my old louver here, way too small for the new furnace. I'm going to have to come in here. I'm probably going to go 1 inch from each of the edges, and I'm going to go through and I'll take my jigsaw and cut this whole area out here and make it a door that can breathe for my furnace, and then I will put a little bit of a frame on the other side there just to kind of cover up the edge of the hole here. But again, it's not perfect, but like I said, that's not going to be seen. I'll probably stain that or cover it up with some brown shoe polish or something like that before I put it. Well, again, it's going to be cut out to possibly down to here, so nobody's ever going to see that anyway. Again, the router, the biggest issue I have with it, what I don't like about it, is this adjustment here. And let me just take that off here and let me pause it for. It's kind of hard to see, but there's just little increments there. There's no units of measure. I'm sure the smaller ones probably millimeters, and these are like 1/16 of an inches. And there's it looks like there's something there to put a gear on there, but there's not a gear on here. So you can see it's just a plastic sleeve. And I don't like this. It just feels pretty cheap. And when you tighten this up, it feels like it's not going to last very long because it's made of plastic. And there's no wheel here or gear. Again, why do they have this groove here when there's nothing to attach to it, to like a gear to lower this up and down? It's just all, you know, I just fixed it and lowered it by sight and tried to, you can see I had to freehand a bunch of this, so I kind of got some deep gouges here, but again, I'm not concerned about that. But it was kind of hard to get it set to a specific site depth there on that bit. But overall, the router worked fairly good. A little bit of a wood burning smell here because I took a little bit too deep of cuts on a few of them. But overall, it's pretty good. The last thing I don't like about it is all this sawdust built up in this transparent thing. There's a light on the control here, so when you turn that on here, see if I can get it, I don't want to turn that guy on here, but when you turn it on, the light wouldn't shine through that sawdust there. There's also on the other side, like most lithium batteries, you have a button here. You can see what kind of charge you have on there. But I worked for about, and then there's a speed. I just had it set on 2 there. That's kind of whatever was on there seemed like it was fast enough to do the cutting there. And it was good enough to do the job that I'm doing, and I don't do a lot of routing. It's the first time in about 25, 30 years that I've used a router. I actually gave my old router away, but this is sufficient for what I have. Again, I'm disappointed that there's no case for all the parts and all the bits, and I showed you I kind of made my own bit tray there. Let me get that. And there's my bit tray. Just something to organize them so I can kind of keep track of them. I'll probably have to make my own case or see if I can find something that'll kind of match and hold the 2 batteries and the charger and the wrench. Oh, there's one other little thing here. The last thing I didn't like about it is the way, in order to tighten this bit, I had to stick something in here they didn't really give you a tool. I just used one of my aws here, and you had to put something in there, some kind of tool, to put that on there, so that you could tighten that up. Okay, and if the sleeves on there, I mean, there's plenty of room to work on it, but it was just kind of awkward when I changed the bit. I had a different cutting bit to start with. I did the outline, and then I used this other bit here to dig out all the wood there. One last thing I just noticed as I'm putting this away, again, it feels pretty flimsy here, this little tightener here, but if you can't, it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see this is already bent, and I've only used this. This is the first time I've ever used this. So when I tighten that sleeve around the router, that support there is already bent up. So again, the last time I tightened it when I was adjusting the depth, I felt like it was going to come loose, but it looks like that center shaft has bent there. So that's something they should reconsider the design on that. And not only that, I just loosened this up a teeny bit just so I could get that sleeve back off on there, and the nut popped off. I barely touched it, and then the lever, I have no idea, they dropped on the floor, and it's one of those things where they drop and sounds like they went about 5-10 feet away. So I can't see them right, so now I got to start looking for those. I might have to do that after I finish my door.